Hi there, welcome to our channel. Today we are focusing on the story of Laurent Desire Kabila, the Democratic Republic of Congo's third president. His father, Desire Taratibu, worked for the colonial administration, bestowing upon the young Laurent a polished French accent and the seeds of leadership. June 1960 marked a new dawn as the Congo celebrated its independence from Belgian rule. Patrice Lumumba, the country's first prime minister, embodied the hope of a unified Congo. But this hope was quickly dashed as the nation spiraled into chaos. The army mutinied and the mineral-rich Katanga province seceded with Belgian support. Lumumba was ousted by Joseph Desire Mobutu, later known as Mobutu Sese Seko, an American protege. Lumumba's assassination in Katanga sent shockwaves through the Congo and ignited Kabila's fervent commitment to the Lumumbist cause. On November 13, 1960, a tragic turn of events stoked the flames of Kabila's revolutionary spirit. His father was killed by manipulated Balubakat youths, deepening Laurent's resolve. The dream of a unified Congo under Lumumba's vision became his own. Kabila's journey in public life began in 1963 when he served as Secretary General for Social Affairs, Youth and Sports in the National Liberation Council, the CNL, led by Christophe Gwenye. The CNL, formed by Lumumbiste and other nationalists, aimed to combat the US-dominated government in Kinshasa. Gwenye declared himself president of the People's Republic of the Congo in Kisangani and appointed Kabila as chief military operations officer for the east of the Congo. However, Kabila never assumed this post. Kabila's name re-emerged in July 1964 as vice president of a provisional government in North Katanga. He was expected to serve as a political commissar in Kisangani but failed to appear. By the end of 1964, Kabila had moved to Nairobi, holding the impressive titles such as Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. Che Guevara, who visited South Kivu in 1965, noted Kabila's activities and willingness to accept Cuban support. Despite Che Guevara's support, Kabila spent little time on the front lines, choosing to focus on other matters in Cairo and Dar es Salaam. This reluctance to engage would become a hallmark of Kabila's leadership. In 1967, Kabila returned to South Kivu, where he established a liberated zone under the People's Revolutionary Party, the PRP. For 2 decades, this zone, though small, was maintained with strict military discipline and Marxist teachings. Predominantly comprised of Bembe people, the PRP gave them purpose and dignity despite harsh living conditions. Food was scarce and members sometimes ate riverbed mud to stave off hunger. The PRP's influence waned by 1977 following kidnappings that drew international attention. Kabila's charisma faded and he appeared more as a bandit. Systematic attacks by Mobutu's forces nearly neutralized the PRP. Kabila's obsession with power and womanizing created deep resentment among his followers, many of whom fled to Tanzania. Yet he never abandoned his political ambitions. On the 19th of May 1975, Kabila's fighters kidnapped 3 United States and 1 Dutch student from Jane Goodall's chimpanzee research project in western Tanzania. They demanded a ransom of $500,000 American. Although the ensuing ransom provided the PRP with some financial clout, for Kabila, the fallout from the kidnapping was a public relations disaster. President Mobutu launched systematic attacks to neutralize the movement, and for Kabila, he lost the official support of President Nyerere. By 1977, Kabila's PRP rebellion was militarily defeated, and his children, including the future President Joseph, were sent into hiding to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, followed later by Kabila himself and his wife. Although Kabila was leading a quiet life in the leafy suburbs of Dar es Salaam, this did not stop him receiving his dream of a republic of North Katanga. Kabila wanted to take control of the town of Moba in northern Katanga. For 2 days, on the 13th of November to the 15th of November 1984, Kabila's PRP fighters began operations against the Mobutu regime. His collaborators on the ground were later arrested, but that did not stop Kabila launching a second and more limited operation against Moba, which was mounted on the 17th of June 1985, but it was quickly neutralized. The majority of PRP militants refused to follow Kabila on his Katangese path, exhausted as they were from their fruitless years in the bush. Many moved to refugee camps in Tanzania before returning to their home areas. Admittedly, many PRP members lost confidence in their leader, who now lived abroad and reaped the benefits of the gold trade. On the other hand, Kabila never gave up political action, and while Mobutu never considered him a threat, he held on to his convictions even if his business ventures seemed to have taken the upper hand. While Kabila was busy trading in gold on the streets of Dar es Salaam, events in Rwanda in 1994 descended into bloodletting that ended up in a genocide. The Rwanda Patriotic Front emerged from the ashes of genocide victorious, while remnants of the former Rwandan military, the ex-FAR, Force Armée Rwandaise, and the Interahamwe militia fled into the jungles of eastern DRC. Rwanda objected to the presence of people who had committed genocide just across its borders and who had access to weapons from where they could attack Rwanda. The Rwandans, along with the Ugandans, created the Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo, the AFDL. Kabila found himself the right man at the right time. He was chosen as spokesperson to lead the AFDL because he had a long history of anti-Mobutu rebellion going back to the 1960s and was the oldest among the founders. Starting in October of 1996, with the fall of Uvira, Kabila and his allies captured town after town in the east. By the 17th of May 1997, the AFDL had captured Kinshasa. Mobutu fled first to his jungle villa in Guadolite and then later hijacked a cargo plane destined for Savimbi's weapons, and that plane took him to Lomé in Togo. Kabila was sworn in on the 29th of May 1997 at the Kamanyola Stadium, which he renamed the Martyrs Stadium. In his typical one-man style of leadership, he promptly changed the country's name from Zaire to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The old Zairean flag was replaced with the pre-1971 flag comprising of dark blue standard with 6 stars on the left and 1 big star in the middle. Laurent Desire Kabila issued a decree concentrating all power to himself and appointing strategic ministries to members of his Balubakat tribe. In early February of 1998, Etienne Tshisekedi, the main opposition leader, was arrested and deported to his home village of Kabeya-Kamanga in eastern Kasai. The confusion in Kabila's government was not only confined to politics. In January 1998, Kabila unilaterally withdrew the rights of executive exploitation from a dozen mining companies. Then, in March 1998, Kabila's government announced the revision of all contracts concluded by the previous regime. Even contracts signed by the AFDL during the rebellion and by the government after taking power were not honored, which led to important litigation and discouraged potential investors. Kabila replaced most of Mobutu's worthless currency with the Congolese franc. On 16 November 1997, the DRC left the Francophonie, the grouping of French-speaking countries. According to Congolese television, Kabila stated that the Francophonie is the continuation of neo-colonialism, where independent countries remain under France's umbrella. Less than 2 weeks later, Kinshasa expelled the French embassy. As a reprisal, France expelled the number 2 of the Congolese embassy in Paris. More generally, the old rebel Kabila was quite unaware of the functioning of international relations and of the basics of diplomatic etiquette. He said openly what crossed his mind, did not show up where he was expected, showed up where he was not expected, and so on. The distrust between the Tutsis and Katangan elements of Kabila's government increased. There were persistent rumors that James Kaberebe, his Rwandan chief of staff, was plotting a coup against Kabila. Acting on these fears, on 11th of June 1998, Kabila appointed his brother-in-law Celestin Kifwa as the new acting chief of staff. Then on the 29th of July 1998, some 600 Rwandan soldiers were given their marching orders and told to leave the Democratic Republic of Congo. They left Gili airport destined for Kigali. In the making of several months, a new war had become inevitable. It was a remarkable turn of events. In mid-August of 1998, Laurent Desire Kabila was leading a Congolese government which was now at war with its former allies of Uganda and Rwanda. Efforts to end the state of war were gathering pace. By the 10th of July 1999, Laurent Desire Kabila, alongside the leaders of Zimbabwe, Angola, and Namibia, as well as the leaders of Rwanda and Uganda, had signed the Lusaka Accord. Kabila initially objected to the deployment of UN troops on Congolese soil on the grounds that such a move violated Congolese sovereignty. However, by the 25th of August 2000, Kabila had agreed to the deployment of United Nations troops to zones held by the DRC government. On the 16th of January 2001, Laurent Desire Kabila was assassinated by one of his bodyguards. His death marked the end of a tumultuous era in Congo's history. To many, Kabila embodied the complexities of Congolese politics, while some saw him as a symbol of patriotism and resistance. Others viewed him as an opportunist. His legacy remains a testament to the turbulent journey of the Congo. This is the story of Laurent Desire Kabila, a man who shaped and was shaped by the history of his nation. Thank you for following this piece, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.